Welcome back to another episode on Keen on Australia. As you know, we love bringing you education and information for moving on here in Australia. Now, all of these shows are general in their advice. If you need specific advice, reach out to a professional and get the help you need for your own situation. Today, we've got someone back on the show we've had before. We're going to talk to Brett again from Tor FX. Hey, Brett, for those that haven't met you or didn't listen to the last show, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, g'day, Darren. Good to be back again. Yes, Tor FX, we help people move money around the world for all different types of reasons, both personally and for business. Uh, just a brief on us as well. I mean, we're one of the largest privately held FX providers in the world. Been around for about 25 years. In Australia for just over 12 years. So the Australian office and New Zealand office, we basically encompass the whole of the Asian region. But also we have clients globally as well that we help out of our Australian New Zealand office. Last year we facilitated in excess of $20 billion in transfers for our clients. But what sets us apart from the rest is that we have excellent rates of exchange. So generally anything from 1 to 5% better on the exchange rate than what the banks offer. And we've got a real high touch personal service. So what I mean by that is doesn't matter if you're transferring $200 or 200 million, every client's treated exactly the same. They all get their own dedicated account manager. So they get the direct email address and direct telephone number for the account manager. So a little bit different to the banks, whereas, and everyone's experienced this, if you've got an issue with the bank and you ring the bank, you tend to get ping-ponged around from department to department, just causes a lot of unnecessary stress and anxiety. So we alleviate that by, if you've got an issue, you can just pick up the phone and direct dial straight into your account manager. And they're there to help with the account and obviously just provide some market guidance and just maximize the value of a client's transfer. So we don't have any fees, no setup charges. And just to back up what I say about our service, we're CanStar 5-star rating for the last 8 years in a row. No other FX provider in the marketplace has those accolades.
That's awesome. For those that want to find out a bit more about that, you can actually jump back on show 19, where you were last on, and obviously went into that. But for today, what's going on the money market? It seems to be all over the show, and there's lots of crazy stuff going on. Can you explain to people a bit about how, what, why?
Yeah, absolutely, Darren. It really has. I mean, last year was an extremely volatile year. I mean, we saw currencies bouncing around everywhere. So, but there's several factors involved in the currency movement. So there's interest rates, inflation, geopolitical events like the US tariffs had a massive impact on the markets last year. You've got the war in Ukraine, you've got instability in Iran, you've got unemployment figures, and overall strength in the economy really does affect those rates. So, for example, at the moment, the Australian economy and unemployment is actually down, inflation is up, and interest rates were risen, and they're going. Well, the forecast is to raise them up again. So, what that does is the impact is that capital flows from overseas into Australia, chasing the higher yield on their money. So, as a result, it just strengthens the Aussie dollar.
Yeah, and like I said, it's been pretty crazy, but what we actually wanted to talk to you about today is something that a lot of people have been using and maybe more people need to understand. And obviously, that is your service around having a virtual wallet or a virtual bank account. Obviously, how does that all work and how can you help people with it by having one of those?
Yeah, sure, Darren. So, unless you're on ground in Australia, you cannot open up a bank account. So with TorFX, you've got the ability to open up an account and have a virtual wallet. So, so it's a good idea to get one set up straight away. There's no fees, no setup charges involved in that. But what it does, it gives you the ability that once your account's created, is to actually pay for things that you need before you get into country in Australia. So you may have bond rent to pay, school fees, you might need to buy car, furniture, and any other general expenses. We can actually assist with making those payments via your virtual wallet to take care of all of that. So very handy indeed. I mean, I'll give you an example. Just a client recently, they were moving over to Australia. They hadn't done so just yet. We helped them by setting up their virtual wallet. So they actually used that initially just to pay their rental bond. But then after that, they were using it to pay school fees and then also starting to transfer some wages across uh, into their virtual wallet so that they can take care of other things as well, other small expenses. So, and down the track, once they eventually move to Australia, when they sell their property, they'll have everything set up there for themselves as well. So everything's in place.
That's awesome. And that is a big one. A lot of people misunderstand, I think, is even we give out the advice that yes, you can open a bank account before you get to Australia, but you can't actually use it for anything. So all the big
Correct.
banks offer the option to open a bank maybe 2 weeks before you get here, but it's more so there's less paperwork when you get to the branch. If you put money in it, you actually can't use it. They don't let you do anything with it. It's locked up till you turn up to the branch. So having that ability to be able to pay for stuff before you get here, especially things like rent, is a huge advantage because you've got to pay that normally within 24 hours of getting your rental house.
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise, you miss out on the property, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's high impact.
And that's a huge one. So say someone puts 10 grand into their virtual wallet and they pay their rent and all that, say 7 grand. What happens with that 3,000 that's left over? What happens to it?
Oh, they can do several things. They can either transfer it back into their bank account back in New Zealand, or they can have it sit in the virtual wallet. We can sit there for a day, a week, a month, a year, as long as they like. So it doesn't attract any fees or any charges whatsoever. So when they need to use it again, they can simply go ahead and use the funds out of that wallet.
And does that go back the other way? Say they had bills still in their home country, they might want to pay someone some birthday money, all those sorts of things. Can they go back the other way, like back to where they came from with the virtual wallets?
Yeah, so they can, if they've deposited New Zealand dollars into their virtual wallet, they can transfer those New Zealand dollars back out into the account where it came from.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Now, we are talking about how all over the show the money market is. What should people do with timing the market or just getting on with it or etc. But I get asked all the time, should I bring my money over or leave it? What's your general advice for when people are asking those questions?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, everyone's circumstances are different, right? So some may choose to move their money ASAP because they may have a property that they purchased and the settlement's going to happen this week. So they just need to move the funds straight away. Uh, Others may also just want to transfer straight away to take advantage of the property market over here in southeast Queensland too. As you know, the property market here, the prices just keep increasing. So there's probably more value in transferring the funds now, purchasing a property and taking care of taking advantage of those gains. But then you've got others that have got time on their side, which is fine. So we can work in with a strategy with clients, no matter what their situation is. So can work with their account manager, develop a strategy, um, which might encompass some rate alerts or some forward contracts. But basically, we can help them with a strategy and take the onus away from the client on continually watching the market.
That's great. And
So,
yeah,
and I could sorry, Darren, I could probably give you an example of that too. So, recently we helped the client that had sold their business in New Zealand,
mhm.
and then they were waiting for their property to actually settle as well. So the account manager that was working with them arranged a strategy so that they can deploy some of those funds in stages. So as the Aussie dollar dropped and the New Zealand dollar strengthened, they were able to set up rate alerts, which the account manager once those rate alerts were triggered, the account manager reached out to the client, said, "Right, you're ready to move those funds because it's hit your target range," and they transacted at that point in time. So they continued to do that in the chunks, and then they deployed exactly the same strategy for once their property settled as well in New Zealand. So it was extremely helpful for them.
Yeah, and that's
So
that's a big
Darren,
one. We're definitely seeing it a lot too. And how I always say to people to look at it as well. Say, for example, they're moving $200,000, which will be their deposit on a home,
yep,
and they're worried about chasing the extra, say, 5%.
Yes.
which is obviously the change in the value of the money. Well, that's only $10,000 on that. Where
Yep.
the house they're waiting to buy, if it moved up 5% in the time they're waiting, on $1 million house, that's 50 grand. So yep, they're up
Yep.
10 or 20,000 in their exchange rate, but they're down 50,000 in their purchase price. And I suppose
Yep.
that's in the big picture. People have got to look at why they're moving the money and what for. And if it's holding them up from purchasing their home, a lot of
Yes.
people wait for that dream figure of whatever it is they want for the exchange rate at
Yep.
an extreme loss of how quickly the price of the property is moving and potentially even moving that far that they then can't buy the property.
Yep. So true. That's it.
Do you think we're going to see a bit less volatility this year? Do you think it'll be a bit more stable, or is there still just too much going on around the world that it's going to bounce around a bit?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, at the end of the day, interest rates globally keep coming down. Australia's the only one bucking that trend at the moment. And then you've still got so many uncertainties around the tariffs as well, still. And there's just conflicts going on around the world, geopolitical events that just keep popping up, and it really does affect the currency markets in a big way. So, going
Oh,
to be an interesting year
it
yet
will
again.
be another interesting year, and thanks for coming on the show again. Look, the big thing about this, I suppose, is like everything. If you're looking at moving money, reach out to a professional, ask them for their advice, and plan. Like everything we do, it's all about education and planning. Don't just wake up tomorrow and go, hey, I'm going to move my money. Like, obviously, if you need to do it in a hurry, places like Tor FX can help you do it in a hurry, but they'll also sit there and plan with you of the right time to move your money. So, if you send me a link, I will chuck it in the show for people to be able to open one of these virtual wallets and an account with you guys, so they can reach out. And then for them to do that, all that advice and opening an account's all free, isn't it?
Absolutely, Darren. Yep. Everything is free with us. We've got no charges whatsoever.
Oh, thank you again for coming on the show. It's been really helpful for all of our listeners. I will chuck that in the advice in the link. And if anyone's looking for anything on our show, reach out to us anytime and let us know. If you want a topic, we'll go find the people to interview. If you want to come on the show, reach out to us. If you can help people with their move, again, just reach out because that's where we get everyone for these shows so we can help people make their transition to Australia even easier. We'll catch you the next time on Keen on Australia.